Welcome to this explainer. Today we're jumping right into a seamless, honestly almost cinematic journey about a totally hidden figure in American history. We're looking at the guy who quietly orchestrated the highly improbable rise of Ulysses S. Grant. It is a crazy story of loyalty, strategy, and just recognizing potential when literally everyone else looked away.
We all know the legend of Ulysses S. Grant, right? The victorious Civil War general, the relentless commander, the face on the $50 bill. But history kind of has a way of hiding the actual mechanics of success. So the real question we need to ask is, who actually built that fame? Because historians will tell you, without one specific guy operating in the shadows, Grant might never have become famous at all. No way.
Well, that man was Elihu Washburne. Now, I know it's a name that doesn't usually make the front page of our history textbooks, but it absolutely should. Washburne was this invisible engine behind Grant's legendary ascent. And honestly, understanding their partnership completely changes how we view this whole era of history.
Section 1. The man behind Grant. A tale of two citizens. Okay, so there is a really stark contrast between these two guys. On one side, we have Ulysses S. Grant. Before the war, he was just a quiet former Army officer living in Galena, Illinois. Actually, scratch that. He was really just struggling financially, trying to make ends meet as a clerk in his dad's leather goods store. Very few people looked at him and saw a bright future. But then, on the flip side, we have Elihu Washburne. Washburne was already this incredibly influential Illinois politician. He was serving in Congress, representing northwestern Illinois, and he was known as a fierce, powerful supporter of the Union. I mean, they literally couldn't have been more different in their public standing.
Section 2. The Galena Connection. Seeing the potential.
So the secret to Washburne's success as a politician was that he never forgot the folks in his hometown of Galena. And among those people was our quiet leather store clerk. Washburne saw something others didn't. He remembered Grant's past military experience. He picked up on the guy's inherent discipline. While the rest of the world completely dismissed Grant, Washburne firmly believed that the country was going to very soon need men exactly like him. Think about this timeline, because it's wild. When the Civil War broke out in 1861, Grant stepped up, volunteering to help train soldiers. He started out commanding just a tiny group of volunteers. But watch this progression. By 1862, he captures Fort Henry and Fort Donelson. Suddenly, he's out there leading entire armies. And by 1864, he's promoted to lieutenant general. This wasn't just luck, folks. This was a meteoric rise fueled by real victories on the ground and relentless support from behind the scenes.
Section 3. Battles and Political Defenses. A two-front war.
Following those shocking victories at Fort Henry and Fort Donelson in 1862, where, by the way, thousands of Confederate soldiers surrendered, Grant became an absolute national sensation. Newspapers all over America were plastering his name everywhere. They even gave him this legendary, super forceful nickname, Unconditional Surrender Grant. To the public, his rise seemed entirely unstoppable. But behind closed doors in Washington, D.C., things were, well, a lot more precarious.
You see, the political battles in Washington were often just as dangerous as the physical ones. Grant faced some intense criticism. Nasty rumors were spreading about his leadership, and quite a few politicians actively wanted him removed from command. Enter Washburne. He became Grant's ultimate political shield. He recommended Grant for military appointments. He constantly talked him up in Washington. Whenever Grant secured a win, Washburne made absolutely sure the top brass heard about it. He fiercely protected Grant's reputation from the rumor mill, arguing time and time again that Grant was exactly the commander the Union desperately needed.
This creates just an incredible division of labor. Think about it. On the battlefield, Grant is fighting the physical war, leading the Union armies, capturing forts. Meanwhile, in the Capitol, Washburne is fighting these vicious political battles in Congress, totally securing Grant's flank. They trusted each other completely. It was this perfectly synchronized, powerful partnership that kept Grant in the game.
Section 4. The Ultimate Promotion. Making History in 1864. So by 1864, President Abraham Lincoln is facing a massive decision. The Union urgently needed a single commander to lead all of its armies. A bunch of high-profile names were tossed around, but one man stood head and shoulders above the rest. And that was thanks in no small part to his undeniable victories and Washburne's flawless political backing. Lincoln promoted Ulysses S. Grant to lieutenant general. Guys, this is huge. To put that in perspective, this was a rank that had not been held since George Washington himself. The struggling former store clerk from Galena
was now literally the absolute highest-ranking officer in the entire Union Army.
Section 5, Loyalty Rewarded, from Galena to the White House. As the war wrapped up, Grant's strategic victories successfully preserved the Union. And throughout that whole harrowing journey, Washburne never wavered. He remained a fiercely loyal friend. When Grant eventually reached the absolute pinnacle of American politics and became the 18th President of the United States, he sure didn't forget the man who built his foundation. Grant immediately rewarded that loyalty by appointing Washburne as his Secretary of State. Later on, Washburne served with distinction as a diplomat in Europe. It's crazy to think that the immense trust forged in a tiny leather goods store culminated at the highest levels of global diplomacy.
So, what's the big takeaway here? It's the sheer power of the Galena legacy. A friendship that kicked off in a small town in Illinois had a direct, measurable impact on shaping the future of an entire nation. Washburne's ability to spot hidden talent, combined with Grant's ability to actually deliver on that potential, well, it changed history. Their roots are always going to remain deeply embedded in those historic Illinois streets.
But you know what? The story of Galena and Grant's connection to it isn't quite over. Hidden among those historic streets stands a house that became a lasting symbol of victory, leadership, and this remarkable political rise. It was a gift that turned a returning Civil War hero into Galena's most celebrated resident. So, what secrets does the famous Grant home actually hold? Well, that is a fascinating mystery we are just going to have to uncover next time. Thank you for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep questioning the history you think